The Fostex 6301 is a really special little reference monitor. These things have been around since 1982. That's over 40 years now, and they've barely ever changed them. They've added a few different models. There's all sorts of different versions of these you can get, and in 2014 they redesigned the front panel and made the box a little smaller, and they changed the amplifier a little bit as well. But for the most part, these things have been exactly the same my entire life. And I've got one here today that I picked up really cheap, and we're gonna see if we can get it back into working condition. Thanks for coming back to the channel. It's great to have you here. There's always more info at DcSoundOp.com. I think I was pretty lucky with this one. The sale prices can be all over the place depending on the model, but this is the 6301D, or the digital model, which it's got an XLR for AES in and through. There's a 1/4" input for plugging in analog, and then there's also a switch where you can select which channel from the AES pair you want to listen to, or if you want to sum those together, and that's a super handy feature in a small monitor. I was able to pick this one up for only $50 plus shipping, which is a great deal on the digital model, but this one was untested, and thankfully it seems to function just fine. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to have been kept very well, or it was just used very hard over the years without a ton of recent maintenance. So to start out, I'm just gonna clean it up and pull it all apart, make sure there's no dirt or anything going on. We'll clean all the contacts and connectors, reseat everything, lubricate anything that's moving. And then I also think I'm gonna swap the speaker out. It's really hard to get the original speaker for these right now just because they're out of stock. I don't know if they're still making them, but I haven't been able to find a lead time from anybody on when they might be back in stock. The old driver is working, but the surround is pretty funky, and there's places where it seems like it's almost collapsed a little bit. It doesn't look too far different from what these looked new, and this model is different than the one that had the red surround, but trying to get a replacement for this right now just isn't possible. But the whole point of this kind of monitor, for what I'm going to use it for, is to replicate a small consumer speaker. We're not going for the highest possible fidelity. We're going for a pretty good middle of the road idea of what most people are going to hear your content on, which might be like a car speaker, a small radio, laptop speakers, television speakers, or even earbuds. So with all that in mind, I thought a good place to start would be the most popular 4-inch car stereo replacement speaker I could find on Amazon, and it's just a little 4-inch speaker. You can see it's much smaller, more compact than the original driver, but it fits right in there just fine. So let's take a listen, and you can decide what you think it sounds like in this very unscientific quick listening test. I'm also going to order some other model 4-inch speakers to try and compare with this one in the future. I'm not sold on this one. I haven't heard it yet before recording this test you're about to hear, and I'm definitely going to try some other stuff. So let me know what you think is a good 4-inch driver for this kind of thing in the comments below. So what do you think? That's a pretty big difference, huh? And obviously the original driver here that I'm using isn't in original condition, so it would be great to get a hold of an original one in the future to actually compare these fairly. but I'd love to hear what you think about the difference of what you heard. I also can't for the life of me find a nut that fits over the 1/4-inch input properly. All the ones I have are too small, and that's leading the TRS analog input to wiggle a tiny bit. So I've got to track that down or find a complete replacement for that PCB mount 1/4-inch input, but maybe just changing it to a panel mount would be simpler. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about this driver, or what driver you think I should try in this box next. And a special thank you to you if you're still watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.